Hello, friends. Welcome to Mule Session. We are discussing about the batch process. So, in the first two sessions, I describe about the batch process introduction, and in the second session, we discussed about the various phases of the batch process, what happens in each phase, how the processing happens, all those concepts. Now, today, this is the third and the final session of the batch process. Today, we're going to discuss about the demo of the batch process. So, like I discussed in earlier session, like there are three phases in the batch process, like load and dispatch, process records, and on complete. And if you are seeing my application in any point studio, I just configured and we flow with the batch process. So let me explain about this flow. In the source, I'm fetching a file from my file system. That file system is some records, and I'm processing those files in the different batch steps. So what kind of processing I'm doing? Let me show you the file I'm fetching from the file system. So if I go back to here, so this is a file CSV file, and I'm showing the CSV content over here. The CSV file seems to an records of employees, and there is a join date of each employee. So what my processing is, I want to add three dates. I want to add plus three to this date. So if it's 16, I want to make it 19. Just for demo purpose only. It's not in real time, just a demo purpose. I want to do some process on the records, but just I'm increasing the date to 3 days, and I'm showing the format as the instead of 08, I'm showing I want to transform to August. Instead of 05, I want to transform to May, something like that. I don't know, MMM format. Only that is a processing I'm doing on each record. Okay. So for demo purpose, I just created one file with 30 records. Okay. This is the input to my batch job. What I want to do batch job is for each record, I need to add the 3 days to the date, and I need to change the format to the August. That is the only processing. Okay. And this is the input, and I want to show the this two steps, right? Two steps. I've configured two steps. And first, I want to show the batch job component configuration. If you see the batch job component configuration, I configured as a -1. Like I told, I don't want to stop my execution if any error occurs. For that, I need to configure as -1. If you want to stop the execution, you can configure the number of records allowed to fail instead of -1. Okay. And scheduling strategy, I configured as ordered sequential. So what's this mean is maybe in this scheduler, right, in this the file scheduler I configured. So the frequency is 20 seconds, means every 20 seconds I'm picking a file and transfer I'm processing that file. Every 20 seconds I'm picking a Excel file and processing that Excel file, right? So what happens is while processing the one file, maybe the first file will take 30 seconds. While processing the first file, there is chance of getting second file also, right? They pick up the second file also. So when more than one file is in process, how the files got scheduled to process. So if I put the ordered sequential, means first file comes, that will finish, then the second file which is triggered, that will get take into consideration. So first come first serve, that is order sequential. Okay? That is order sequence. Or else the two more options we can see, one more option you can see is round robin. Round robin means for some time I will execute the first process the first file, and sometime second file, and I comes again to first file, then second files, like that. Okay, the CPU will rotate around these two files or three files, whatever. So the scheduling strategy defines how you are processing the files that is getting input to your batch job. And batch job instance ID, this will you can automatically Mule creates an instance ID for each Mule job, so you need not give over here any instance ID. And block size, batch block size. So by default it is 100, like I discussed in the previous session, but I'm taking only 30 records. I'm just making a batch block size as a 5, means the blocks of 5 got loaded into RAM. And max concurrency, how many threads, back concurrency defines how many threads in the thread pool, so that it parallelly executes the blocks, right? So by default the configuration is 2 into core. If you don't give anything, 2 into core of your CPU, means if it 4, that's 8 threads will create, that is 8 threads parallel execute the batch, that's the concurrency. And if you want to give some number, so that many threads will created, that many threads will executed. So max concurrency about that one. And target is similar, like target variable we configured around our all flows, or right, that is target variable. The variable get created, the entire value stored in that variable, right? Okay. So this is about your batch job configuration. And now I will move on to the batch step, right? So to the batch step, the blocks will get loaded. Blocks of 5 records, as per my configuration. Blocks of 5 records get loaded. So if we see the batch step configuration, I'm configuring one expression called when payload dot gender is equal to female. Means this step will process only the records which are the female, gender is equal to female. If you see the Excel file, see, if you see the gender, right, gender, some male and female is there, some male candidate, female candidates. So I want to dedicate one step that will process only the female candidates, that will allow only the female. So my expression is, each record will flow through the batch step, right? From the like I discussed in the previous session, from the RAM the blocks get loaded. Inside the blocks the record get loaded. Each record will flow through the batch step, right? When the record goes to batch step, the record is become the payload. The record become payload. So payload dot gender is equal to female. Those steps, those records only allowed to flow through this step, right? And one more thing, important point is the batch aggregator. I didn't say anything about this batch aggregate in theory session. I want to discuss in practically what is a batch aggregator. So what I my requirement is, whatever thing I process in the batch step, I want to send to the target system. The target might be a database, or target might be a Salesforce, like a cloud system. The target might be a JMSQ, or target might be a file. Here I'm taking as a file, means whatever things I processed, I want to put that record into file. So if you put over here, right, what happens? Each record, a new file we are created. We are sending a record by record to the queue, to the file. So if it is to database, each record we are creating connection, we are sending to the database, right? So if there are 100 records you need to send database, you need to 100 times you need to talk to connect to database and send to file. So 100 times establishing connection is a kind of expensive one. What we can do is we can batch, we can bulk some number of records, and we can send all the records what in one single shot. So aggregator aggregate the number of records processed, and those batch is sent to the target system. Here I'm aggregating 9 records in the batch aggregator. Batch size is 9, and 9 records I will write to the file at once. I'm not writing each record by record. I'm nine. I want to write some number of records. I can consolidate some number of records, and I want to write those number of records to target. So if I'm consolidating the 9 records, I'm writing to the target over here. That's the advantage of batch aggregator. And I have configured one more step, this batch step. Here I am configuring only failures. So those records which are not able to execute in the batch step one successfully, those records only I will process in the batch step. So why those records are not processed successfully? If you observe what the transformation I am doing over here. So like I told, I am adding the date. I'm adding the date to the date as a 3 days, right? So whatever date, I'm updating the date uh, at 3 days, and I'm changing that date to the month format. Means 08 means August, like that, right? So this kind of processing I'm doing over here. And if you observe my input data, intentionally, for some records I change it like this, 20 value. This is not a proper date. So when you are not a proper date by doing processing on the date, you definitely get error, right? And this one and 20k5, these two records are not valid. We can This date is not valid, we can't process those records. So I want to process these two records separated. We want to write a separate file. All error records I want to write separate file. For that, I created one batch step to process the failure records, right? Only failures. So here only failures. I'm just sending transforming to JSON and writing to some other file called error records JSON. If it is successful, I am writing to the EMP JSON. Uh, if it is failure, I'm writing those to the error records JSON, right? And that is about the process record phase. And in the on complete, I want to print the payload. What is the payload? The batch job result object will be right into the log. All right. So this is about the flow, and let me execute and show you the demonstration. Just I'm debugging this flow. Right click. Oh, I all think already in the debug phase. Yeah, already is running. What I'll do is I just provide input to this folder. Where this folder is, let me show you. The folder is the input, batch process input. I'm desktop. So I want to go to desktop. Input right now, input is no, nothing is the input file. I just copying this file and pasting in the input so that it picks, paste it. Right. So in 20 seconds, this file picked up by my mule flow. uh, 20 seconds, yeah, is picked up. And see, it's transforming to JSON and entering step one. Step one, what kind of record into step one? Only female candidates. You can see that gender is equal to female. Only female will enter into the step one, right? Female. So different blocks of 5 records I'm executing in the batch step. Right, 2 record got fails because the date is not proper, and the aggregator aggregates 9 records and return to that file. And afterwards the batch step. No, see, I in the demonstration, right, I told uh, in the load and dispatch phase, a persistent queue got created in your machine, a local hard disk, right? So actually, for demonstration purpose, I'm using my local file system, but not sure the source is in your local. Source might be remote system. You're picking a file from the remote system or picking a file from FTP server, some remote server. Okay. So now this file I kept in this folder to process, right? And if you go to the Mule server, I'm executing in my Anypoint Studio. You can find the Mule server path over here. This is the server path. Okay, it's got overridden. You can find server path somewhere over here. Actually, if you are execute Anypoint Studio, this is your server path up to this. Oh, in Anypoint Studio, this plugins folder is there. In the plugins folder, some tooling server folder, inside the mule, inside the dot mule, inside the mule, this is your server folder. Okay, mule, Anypoint Studio server folder. If you are running in on-prem, there also you can find this dot mule folder. Now here, if you go to the dot mule, you can find the file folder with your project name. So my project name is batch process demo, batch process demo. With that file, with that folder, we can able to find one folder, batch process demo. So in that folder, you can find something called Q store. If you open this Q store, see there is a BSQ file got created. If I open that one, see whatever input I given, this is the input, right? Though these files, these records are loaded to the queues. So these are processable. We can't process these file comma separator directly. So it makes that this Excel, these comma separated files into this queue, and this guy can process, Mule can process these records. So put a record wise, you can see the records. So all the records are loaded to your persistent queue. This is your persistent queue. This temporary queue only. After processing, this file will get deleted. Only for temporary processing time only, this file is loaded over here. It is very small file, sized file because it's a demo purpose. But in a real time, we this process file will be huge, 8 KB file only because huge. Okay. Now this is a file, persistent queue file. So from this file, the records are loaded into your RAM in a block structure, block wise. Now batch step 1 executed and now batch steps 2 getting executed right now. In the batch step 2, those records which date is not proper, only those are getting executing over here. If you see the date, these two records date is 20 KU and 20 YU. These two are not processed, and these two record executed. I'm writing the file, and finally batch job result. Okay. So now the queue store is empty. That file got deleted. Whatever file loaded, the temporary queue file got deleted, right? And if you, I'm just outputting these files to these success files to MPI JSON and failure files, failure records to the error records JSON. If I go to my output section over here, see this is success records. See each block of 9, because I'm use aggregator size as 9, even though the block size is 5, it aggregates 9 records, and 9 records all are female records only. Observe. Okay, all are female records only. And this as a final block is less than 3, only 27 records, because my whole Excel file contains 30 records. Out of 30, I think the female records are not 30, 29 records actually is first the header, right? 29 records, female records are 1 2 3 4. So 29 minus 4, 25 records are female records. Out of 25, you can see my output as 9 plus 9, 18, and 18 plus 3. 18 plus 3, how much? 9 plus 9, 18 plus 3, 21 records. Okay. And if I see the error JSON, let me show you the error JSON output. Error record JSON. I'm sorry, the two records. Okay, two records, right? So maybe one, two, three, four, five, six. One, two, three, four, five, six. So out of 29, six are males. So 23 records to be processed, right? 23 records. Um, 21 records I got in success JSON, and two records the failure. That's matched, count got matched. So that is about the on process. If you come to the final one, on complete, just a logging, right? You can see the logger, and you can able to see the log statement. See here, total record processed 29, successfully processed 27, and failure rates two records. Means you observed only 23 records. I am saying, right, because I considered only the female records, but we process all the records. But in all the records, six records are not eligible to process step one, but they come into the process records only. Okay. So hope this concept is clear to you. Please, if you have any doubts, please comment in the comment section, and you can elaborate it. Okay. Thank you so much for patiently listening up to this point. If you are listening, thank you so much. Please like and comment this video.